Just wait for any latecomers. Alrighty. It is a digital marketing workshop, but I'm going to request something very strange, and I'm sure you're posting and you're doing scrollings and you know. But if you want to put your mobile phones down, I will do my best to give you guys a bit of education, a bit of inspiration, and probably a fairly broad scale understanding of what's been going on in the marketing space in this industry over the last 15 years, which is how long I've been marketing for the construction industry. Just raise your hands. Who first time Sydney build? Oh wow, cool. This is great. Well done to the organisers. Awesome for you people coming out as well. How good is it just to be out and being around people, and yeah, it's good. So raise your hand if you've been to every single one of these since they began. No? Anyone? That's wow. Okay, there's a lot of fresh industry, fresh people. My name's Rich Latimer, and I'm from Byron Bay. I've got an agency called RT Digital, and I've been speaking here since this began, and probably over the last 12 to 13 years in the construction industry on marketing. So yeah, just really excited to be here and kind of go through what's happening. My personal passion came from, I have 10 uncles and 2 aunties, and my father is a bricklayer. So I was raised on job sites, mixing mortar and throwing bricks, and so I've got a real love for the construction industry. I personally built a couple of things with my own 2 hands and realised that I'd much rather be playing music and doing digital marketing than on a construction site. But it was good, a good vibe. And so yeah, really for the last 12 years, I've been doing a mixture of youth mental health work and music and marketing for construction industry. And and it's been really, really amazing to see the transformation of this industry. So for the last 5 years, my agency has pivoted into supporting passive home, solar construction, social change related projects and a whole range of things. And we've done the marketing for most of the premier names within everything from boutique custom home building, your different trades and things like that over the years. So we've seen a lot, We've seen a lot of change, and we've seen a lot of different aspects of the industry. And even now through this challenging time with the pandemic and struggles with material costs and changes in legislation, a whole range of things, we've still noticed that at the end of the day, there's one kind of rule of thumb. It's almost a primal part of human nature. It's if you've got a message and you can expand it in the right way and you can create a market, then you'll essentially scaffold off that over years. And it's something that the reason why it's been so interesting working in marketing in this industry is because that's kind of the last thing that's thought of. It's kind of like, well, the last thing they think about is doing marketing, but it's kind of it's what gets you through the different waves that the industry have gone through in terms of the presence of your brand and the consistency of it, and how it's able to survive those things. I'm seeing things like, guys that are, 60 years old, got massive projects. I've done anything from consulting to Stroud Homes, launches, franchises, a whole range of things. But to see what's possible now, where like a 33-year-old builder can just set up an Instagram page, chuck a decent amount of monthly budget and just completely decimate another construction company that's had 15 years in the same market in 9 months. It's kind of like it's getting real, the tangibility of being able to really step into a marketplace and say, here we are, and attract who you want. So I'm going to talk a bit about how we do that and how people do it, okay? And to get a deeper understanding. And then there's questions and stuff at the end. I've got Jonty and Jason here that'll chat as well. So as I said, we're from Byron Bay, and that's a really unique place when it comes to building and construction as well. We've probably got some of the highest value net profitable homes in the entire country built there, and some of the most cutting edge building innovation in Australia is also coming out of there. I work with a few of those builders and agencies. And as I said, working with builders that long, it was just a twist of fate, really, and that's where I am, and I love it. The whole team loves working with the construction industry, to be honest. And that's our expertise. So we've got two levels of expertise in that. The length of time that we've been marketing the space and also the audience data gathering. So you imagine running advertising, particularly digital ads, right, where you're accumulating audience data. You're actually paying for that data. You spend $5 million over 15 years and you have the audience data, you start to see the different trends. So shifts in age ranges that are entering the building market, changes in the way certain messaging impacts on parts of the industry, whether it's, we work from commercial, civil or whatever else. It's really interesting looking at that over the years. So the median age that someone's engaging a construction company has changed. Why do we need to know that? Well, because we need to run ads at the right age groups by watching that data over a 15-year period. So it's really, when someone says they know digital marketing, you've kind of got to ask them at what forensic, like if I've got a sore knee and I need a knee operation, I probably wouldn't let my GP do that. I would generally go to a knee surgeon for that. And it's very similar now just due to the nature of how things work. So that's been an experience. So look, 89% of us are using it every day. It's 4 to 6 minutes a day. So it's pretty full on. It's probably more than that. 92% is on mobile now. I remember when I started marketing this, it was, no one was using mobile at all. I was building email marketing systems 10 years ago for builders and saying, hey, I can probably make you $500,000 more a year just through sending, an email every month to get a couple more slabs in the ground, and sure enough, it worked. And now it's all on the mobile. It's a whole different gig. 80% of them are on some form of social media, and 81% search online for a product or service. But what's happened is they're searching after the fact. So now we're noticing that Google's no longer the first place to go and find someone. It's like, I'll go and find them after I've been exposed to the brand through some kind of social media thing or an influencer or whatever. Then I'll jump over to Google and type in that person. So how did we notice that? When we noticed that the Google search ads for the company name started to rise higher than the search for the concept. So, bathrooms in Geelong starts to go down because they're after Freedom Bathrooms. Why are they after Freedom Bathrooms? Well, because we dominated the marketplace with their name, and people not interested in finding another bathroom company. They only go to Google because they want directions to the showroom and to call them. So, and that's been something that has been hard for me to educate builders and construction at all levels of the importance of permeated, systemic, brand-orientated marketing. So it's important. So yeah, the social media usage has not decreased. There was a thought that it might, it hasn't. It's 80% of Australians, and it just seems to keep going up, which is interesting. It's got its negative sides as well. And look, essentially that's where we're at now. We've kind of known this, but now I'd go further than this. It's not enough to have an Instagram and a Facebook and a website. That's not even counted. Yes, you should have that. It should be amazing. It should be on point. It should hit your market, but that's irrelevant. You need consistent permeated exposure in those areas to be visible. Because really, at the end of the day, you're paying for a billboard. There's a lady over there who probably didn't catch the first part of the don't use the mobile phones during the presentation. She's writing notes, okay. You get away with that, you can write notes. There'll be a recording of this afterwards as well, and we're gonna email it out to everyone. But essentially, it's a billboard in their hands, and look, you're buying real estate, really is what you're doing. You're buying signage in the place that everyone's looking at. Okay, so if you're not paying for, I'll cut to the chase. If you're not paying for direct outbound advertising, you are invisible. That's it. It doesn't matter how good your website is and your Instagram posts and all the rest of it, and your internal marketing manager's got great strategies for all this stuff. Bottom line, you need to pay to play. You need consistency, strategy, and long-term systemic sort of penetration of the market. So 2 ways, really. You know, they Google it, or they Google it after seeing it, or they contact you. It'll be based on their interests, demographic data. I mean, we make extensive use of AI now. AI tends to work out who are the right people for a given business once we've had, but to be honest, it's money and time. So Facebook, Instagram and Google have a business model. So they want to deliberately make your advertising ineffective initially, because they know that agencies like us that are experts, not just an internal marketing manager who you've said, hey, you can have $1,000 a month for Facebook ads and they're putting up some random ads. The way it actually works is you are paying for the algorithm to slowly learn, and you're paying for your unique audiences over time. That's what you're actually doing. So they're basically saying, hey, the more you spend with us, the more we'll allow you to actually get results. So we'll have a client sign up and go, yeah, so, you know, we'll get 30 leads a day, and we'll, you know, it's like, well, those leads and the lead quality really starts to kick in after the 2 and 3 year mark. You get to 5 years worth of systemic digital ads with a shit-hot agency that actually knows what they're doing. You're getting then ROI on ROI on ROI because of the learning and the audience data. And then you retain that data, okay? Both demographic-wise, so you get the understanding of it, plus physically in the database, in the names, phone numbers and emails and the audiences and the segmenting. So that's how it actually works. They wean you in, and they want you to invest for a long period of time, okay? Not a lot of agencies or marketing people know that and truly understand the technicalities of that mechanics, you know, so we do. I won an award as the #1 Facebook marketer, top 100 Facebook marketer in the world in 2004. And part of the reason that was successful is I worked out that Facebook put an office in New Zealand. Like their first Australasian office was in NZ. I called them, made friends with a couple of people, found out what they're actually doing with their algorithm, had a few meetings with them and said, hey, these are my ads accounts. You know, like tell me, can I put, this is way back, right? This is the beginning of ads. And sure enough, just saw the impact of that. So it's a game. It's a game, and it's the reality of it. So they're the big ones, as you probably already know, and there's different ways to approach them. Yeah, so really, you know, that's it. That's where you've got to be. And you've got to be there consistently in a really strategic way. Like I'm very clear about this. If you're not in those in a consistent way with proper paid ads that are done well, you know, you'll just trundle along with, you know, a certain market share or word of mouth or whatever, however you're currently building business. And you may not speak about B2B, the effect of systemic marketing. So for example, we have big construction clients who make most of their money from civil, government, whatever, huge developers. And they're like, well, we don't really need to market because we decided to sign a $500 million 3-year construction contract. It's like, well, who's going to accept a tender on a company that doesn't have long-term systemic brand showing social change? You know, you still got to put yourself out there in really, you know, impactful ways. So we did a little test here. Because we've paid probably $5 million, I've probably spent $5 million worth or more in ads over 15 years, both for my company, so me attracting builders and construction people, but me also managing all of the budgets for the tradies and the plumbers and the construction companies and the architects and the whatever. We did a little thing here to find out, just within 50 Ks of here, would be basically ready to build or engage in some sort of medium to high level construction contract in the next 12 months. So the decision to, just quick show of hands who's in the audience, raise your hands if you're in domestic construction. Okay, raise your hands if you're in engineering, architects. No, okay. So look, in that industry, knowing it's about a 2-year life cycle for at a domestic urban building, about 2-year life cycle. thinking about building, start to look, whatever else. In the architectural field, we target 2 levels, builders and then others, whether that's high level, commercial or whatever. If we're looking at a major company that's going to be pitching for major projects in, say, 2 years' time, you start marketing 2 years behind systemically around your brand and what it's going to offer or whatever else, so that creates that. So it's always the lead in. It's like you plant the seeds, and then later on that will reap its benefit. And that's one of the really important things. So around here, there's 400,000 people in 50 k's from here that we could put ads in front of that are ready to engage with at least say a $500 to $1.5 million construction project. So, and we've got that data, so we can literally specifically pay to put ads in front of those specific people based off 10 years of data. So as I said, it's like, that's the journey. It takes time. You got to nurture, regardless of your business, regardless of what it's offering the world. This really applies across the board. So your website really now is just a place they come back to make sure you are who you say you are, and then it's really about the way that there's the conversion from that brand exposure, interest, connection. Then it goes into the automations, the sequences, the repetitive content that really, so word of mouth and great business contracts and ongoing, like we've got some builders who are like, look, I've got the next 20 years worth of work ahead of me just from 2 architects. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. What happens if one of them goes down, or there's an insolvency, or you want to diversify, or your business model changes? You always want to protect your brand. Regardless of your business, what it does, protect your brand. I was talking to a fella here this morning at coffee who does construction software. And I remember before Xero came to Australia, because I consulted Xero for their launch here in Aussie way back, and there was an amazing firm out of WA, 2 fellas called Sasu, basically think Xero, but really incredible. And I warned them, I said, I reckon this other company are going to come in and they're going to dump, $500,000 in brand marketing, and they're probably going to take the entire online accounting software industry straight from under you. So, and that's kind of what it is, It's kind of like you go and create it and then you service it in a way, So word of mouth works, but you've got to back it up. Mine started with email marketing, and it hasn't changed really. It's still the look at this event. 36,000 registrations. Like I know James since first coming and doing this. We've been involved in marketing this with email. Raise your hand if you received an email or a text message about Sydney Build. So, are your potential consumers, customers, past, present, and future, receiving consistent, excellent emails? And it's really one of the highest converters. So what email's job is to create. It's the most transactional of all the media. Okay, it's the one where people will go, all right, I'm going to hit reply and talk, or I'm going to hit reply and ask a question, or I'm going to click a button and register to come to the event. So we use email as a way to get an actual engagement at some level, yeah? And that's really the power of it. So that's what you really need to be thinking about when you're doing it. And it doesn't matter the business, like any one of you could tell me what your business or your offering is, and I could just tell you straight away how you would strategize that so that you would find what the transactional aspects of your business or its offering are, and then you'd permeate your email marketing with attracting that transaction. So the email is the continual attempt at a handshake. You want to, oh, not yet, okay, that's fine, catch you next month, oh no, you didn't, all right, and it doesn't matter. We say to our clients, 3 years. So for me, today, I'm running marketing today, and I'm attracting constant leads. It's no skin off my nose that they will not convert into money in my pocket for 3 years. I don't care, because they're safe, they're in a nice database, they've got excellent, consistent, permeated marketing, and they are my future profits. And I've got them on autopilot, and that's what we've learned over the years. Social content's great, it's just hard. It's just really hard to be consistent, it's really hard to know what to do. Businesses waste so much time and money, trying to work out whether, if they're doing the right posts or whatever else, or Look, at the end of the day, to just be really clear about what it is, it's just for the reason of having flesh on the bones. It honestly is. It's for people who, after they've seen a paid ad, go back to your social profile and go, oh, they're a real company. Oh, they've got pictures and people and staff and they do things. That's what it actually is. It was previously about the consistent content and the potential organic growth and all the rest of it. But then when the major social media networks changed their algorithms, because they were like, hey, people are starting to get a lot of exposure from just using the free aspect of our platform, let's just turn that down and then make them pay over a long period of time. It's a business model shift that we're all dealing with, okay? So do not kid yourself, that's just the reality of it. You gotta have it. So we just do brand exposure. So for our clients, we just schedule, 3-6 months in advance, really well done, but it's just so that there's a lot of meat there when someone goes back to the Instagram profile. It's like, okay, these people check out, they are a real company. All right? That's the gist. So look, that's what we do. You gotta build and monitor multiple, like you need a minimum of 30 different dynamic creatives per ad set. So if you've got a marketing manager, or you think you're doing it yourself, or your business partners, your marketing person, you're looking for it to really be effective. I mean, I've got a core team of like 20 experts and then an extended team. And that's just enough, and they're experts, just enough to keep up on individual channels and the shifts and changes. So whether you get consultancy or expert advice, the reality is don't just bleed cash there. You've really got to have an extensive array for it to work. It will not work if you're running 4 or 5 ads. You need extensive array, multiple levels of retargeting if you want to really milk what's in it. Yeah. So this is the general gist of it. You'll get a basic inquiry. It'll segment down based upon the level of fit, and then they will be serviced a different set of. So, for example, when someone first sees your brand, we'll send a series of, type of ads that really kind of just establish that. Then once we know they've engaged with it a bit more, we'll send the second layer of ads, which is tied in potentially to what you're more offering, segment them even further, and then we'll pay the big dollars to send the third layer of ads to ones we know can transform into business. Okay, so you really need to be doing that. So when you're running your campaigns, you've got to run a minimum of a 3-layer approach to get real conversions, okay? And I don't care what you're spending, 1,000 a month or 100,000 a month, this rule applies. So it's really important that you're doing that with your digital, particularly Facebook ads. Otherwise, it's just a waste. Okay, and under each of those, you need a minimum of 30 creatives across 9 ad sets, minimum. Okay, and you need to change them around every 2.5 months, even if you just change a pixel, because it tricks the algorithm and will give you some more fresh exposure and things as well, because it's an AI now that's watching it. It goes, oh, they put a different thing there. We'll give this a bit more of a crack, because they want you back. Okay, so it's super important. Marketing managers and people that are running businesses that, and to manage that load of ads is, that's a 10-person team. And to report on it and to tweak it, minimum. And that's forensic level, experts that are in there doing. So this is one of the big issues the construction industry have is people think digital marketing is, throw up some SEO on the Facebook. It's really not. So you're here learning that today. So, yeah, look, as I said about Google, they're in flux at the moment. To be honest, SEO is just not, it's not that important anymore, because you can spend 10 grand, 20 grand a year. I mean, do it, that's fine if you've got that extra budget, but I might have no SEO and I'll just get in the top 5 results anyway through a well-placed ad of long-term targeting, you understand? So you've invested in all the blogs and you've done the whole thing and all the rest of it, and I still beat you for that inquiry anyway. So really, it's about localization now. So what we've been focusing on is Google Maps, okay? And that's where it's effective, Google Maps. and getting really nice exposure there and targeted exposure, because we look for, as an agency, we're constantly looking for loopholes in the system. We're constantly trying to find loopholes to get around Zuckerberg and get around Google and try to find these little windows where we can get some more results without wasting money. So focus on your Google Maps related ads, even for brand growth now. I'm not talking about people trying to find you. You might be a multi-million-dollar engineering firm that specializes in wind tunnels. If Sarah's out there somewhere, that was a very cool business. Doesn't matter, because you want to have a Google location built out with fleshed out content, because where Google's headed is into these VR city type things where you'll discover those. I just stand in the middle of the street and just move my phone around and just, your company might be on level 24, unit 7, and it'll just show me, and has like a radar, in my Google Maps thing. Raise your hands if you've started using Live View. So when you walk Live View, the future of Live View, and I know that because I'm working with dudes who are inside Google, and I know guys that have built CRMs off it, and that's kind of where they're headed. So remember I said about the plan for the future? So why would you pay an agency now to be making sure you Google My Business and that? Because you're systemically building up real estate in that space for in the future. So just giving you a heads up. Then you've got your standard lead funnel. So what do we do once we get that in? Well, what you've got to do is you've got to continue to bring them down the food chain until you're getting into business with them, regardless of your product or service. So just to be really clear, this applies across the board. It doesn't matter what your particular company is doing, offering, selling, or providing. What I'm saying is a fundamental requirement of now across the board, essentially. So then you funnel them down, and you got to tie those in to your front-end advertising. So for example, we bring you a lead that we know is at a certain level. I'm not going to go keep wasting money with Facebook after that on that potential, prospect or whatever else. So again, your marketing managers or the agencies you're working with really need to understand this stuff, and they don't. So what I'm saying is you just keep paying money to Johnny and when there's no need to, and there's 3 or 4 layers of exclusion you need to do because Facebook are greedy. So you might think you're excluding a particular audience, but then they'll find them through a loophole of another interest area and go, well, I'll show that ad to that person again based on the fact you've got that interest area. And it's like, no, I don't want to pay, waste money. So these are some of the things you need to do. So once you've got people down into your core lead area where you're having a meeting with them, stop spending money on that demographic area. So that's what we build and run. Retargeting is obviously then, that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where the money is. So the systemic branding and all the outbound ads and the general thing, that's just pay to play. Pay to have, that's like a lot of stall holders here. They're paying just so you walk around and go, oh yeah, VR sourcing platform, cool, right? You're just paying for that. Then once you've got confirmation, once you've got those ad sets, once you've got that depth of penetration, then you go for the money. Then you go for how do we retarget specific micro subsets that we know can translate into actual cash, into business. And that's where that kicks in, okay, at that time. And there's many, many aspects to it. Video's really key. So we do extensive video funnels now. So again, using the 3-layer rule, we'll show a series of videos that are, hi, this is who we are. If someone's interested enough in that, there are potential, then we show them the second one. So you might be interested in who we are, well, this is who we really are. And then we show them one saying, well, you're interested in who we are, who we really are, why don't we get together and do business? So we design all those video ads, we send out teams and shoot them all. There's specific metrics, they've got to go for specific lengths of time, you've got to have heads in certain frames to actually convert. Okay? It's really important that you have extensive video ad funnels running, again, regardless of your thing, your track. So I'll give you a little example. Let's have a look. We are in Australia, in the capital city, in the premier location, and there's no internet access, so that's great. It's great to see. Do you know what I mean? Makes me feel at home, makes me feel good.
Homeowners often get caught out by this unexpected cost, leaving their...
Any chance to turn up? That's all we got. Hang on.
Oh, the flooring is a cost over and above your construction budget. Homeowners often get caught out by this unexpected cost, leaving their build incomplete or delayed. We want to help. If you're planning an extension project on your home along the northern beaches, we have $3,000 for you to spend at one of Sydney's leading flooring specialists. And buying this $3,000 bonus flooring package with our building industry experience, specializing in bespoke first floor additions, we can guarantee a seamless upgrade for your home. If that sounds interesting, please click the link, fill out your project info in the form on the next page, and we'll be in touch to discuss your project.
That one ad alone made millions of dollars worth of profit and saved so much time. So that little piece of information that he gave in that video, we only sent that to people, specific people that were 3 stages down that food chain. And that's the one piece of information, because we ask, what's the main thing they're not getting across the line? Oh, our sales guy or our business development manager constantly has to tell people, hey, not this. The amount of time that their salespeople had to have that conversation in relation to that pitfall, which you couldn't quite hear, is unbelievable. So then to have people come in that are already past that, want to work with you and want to talk to your sales manager and filled out their details to do so, and you do that en masse, instead of them having to say that same thing over thousands of times per year, we send it out to people, and 3,000 people a month watch it. 30 of those 3,000 come in, and the sales manager closes deals. So it's the power of scale off the back of that. So you pick. So I'm educating you here. You pick elements. Each of us have got a product and service, and we have a certain thing that we've got to get across the line of why they're going to engage with us. You've got to find them, really refine them, and then work out how to get them into your digital marketing in a really systemic way, so it does the legwork for you. Okay. So that's the concept of the video funnels. And look, so what does it really look like? And what we build for clients is this. It's called a complete marketing system. And over the different years, I would say, oh yeah, get Facebook or get a Google or get a that's all good. And now it's at the point where no, it's not. If you don't have what I'm about to show, all of it, completely working in unison at this level, and you believe in your business and the product and the whole thing, then you are just dropping the ball at major levels. And it doesn't matter who you're servicing, from $100 million contracts down to architectural to whatever industry. It's a basic fact. Okay, so complete presence and authority. You need to really decide on owning an entire part of the market through your marketing. Okay. You've got to consistently grow it. So this is not about an ROI. This is not, how much, if we put 50,000 in a year, are we going to get 150? It's not about that. It's like, I call it the MS. So my company, I have GST and I have MST. MST is I'm normally run it at 18.5%. So I get an inbound invoice, I give 10% to GST, and then 18.5% of what's left, before I get it for wages or anything else, it's straight over into a marketing account. Gone. 18.5% of gross on every single transaction is gone into a marketing account, because I know that 18.5% will lead to years and years and years and years and years worth of systemic profitability and growth, which I've seen it do for me and for clients that have maintained it, particularly in times of decline. So where marketing is most effective in the construction industry is in times of decline. Supply issues. We've got builders falling over left, right and centre now. To be honest, that doesn't mean the market's not there. It meant the way that they were operating fell over. There's a lot of opportunity in this destruction. It's like a forest, the tree falls down and there's a whole other upshoot. So now's a really, really powerful time, to kind of, particularly if you're in sustainability in any way, if you're involved in social change, if your business is beyond just what its core thing is, this is a really powerful time to have a huge impact. So you build authority through that, okay? And strong digital inquiry. So yeah, basically you bring in those sessions. This is what we do. We build all of this. The hard-coded website. You've got to have lead attraction documents at multiple levels. You've got to have the funnels. You've got to have the consult funnels. You've got to have all your email sequences built in and done. You've got regular social content, but it's authority building. And then you've got to have you consistently retargeting client ad campaigns, relationship building campaigns, and reporting. So with what we do as an agency is it's completely transparent. We just open up the entire reporting thing. Go, yeah, this is it. You've spent $30,000 this month. This is what you've got. This is how many eyeballs. This is where they went. This is which funnel. This is, this lead here has got to probably, we know that funnel has a 3-year life cycle. So that lead may not convert for 3 years. Okay, cool. You paid $50 for that. In 3 years' time, that's a potential outcome. Yeah, so you've really got to think in that way, and you've got to execute it in that way. So this is what you need in your toolkit. You need that level of a website that's designed, so this is not just a normal website, it's a website that's designed to directly interface with your paid ads. Okay? So not, traditionally they're building these info sites, you've got all this other stuff going on, all the rest of it doesn't matter. If that website is not designed by the same people that are running the thinking behind your outbound paid ads, the website is not the right website, because you're going out there looking one way and bringing them back to the house and going, it's a different gig. You've got to have it completely synchronized to get that throughput. Lead attraction documents, you need them, so you that's where your USP goes, that's where or anything special about your company. Then you've got your multiple lead funnels just for inbound, then you've got your consults, then you've got email marketing just churning in the background, email and SMS, so we are integrating SMS now. I was waiting for it to get enough ROI, and it has now. Then you've got your social content, then you've got your retargeting campaigns, you need your video funnel, okay? Like every single one of these is a must-have. Every single one. And they're all got to work together. That's the key. So the SEO needs to be talking back, like your audiences on your consult funnels have to be talking back to your ads campaigns, which is then informing changes on the site for it to work as one ecosystem. And then you want your performance reports. You want really, really deep data. So we give our clients extremely deep data, down into every single individual, whatever, eyeball or lead or market area exposure. So so look, in terms of finding out more and, in terms of what we actually done for certain clients, Sabcom Homes is a great, we've worked with so many, okay, but really Jason's at the back and Jonty, if you want to wave, Jonty. Jonty's come straight off the press tour for the new Elvis film, as you can see. He'll chat with you, and you guys can come and have a talk, or we'll email this presentation out if you're interested in more about what we do. But essentially, it's around the 2 to 3 year mark that it kicks in, okay? In terms of real tangible results, 2 to 3 years in, you need to be spending in the vicinity, depending on the size of your business, it's sort of proportionate to what you do. You've got to be spending sort of 2 to 10K a month just in ads, normally, and you'd be paying between 2 and 10, maybe in management, depending on the level of complexity of what you're doing. Okay, as low as 2 or whatever, up to there. That's the general ballparks. And you make sure you work with an industry specialist, as you've learned today, how important that is with the understanding of how it's working in the marketplace. Then you go through and you'll see your eyeballs to your engagements, to your re-engagements, to your retargeting, to your business transaction. Okay, they're the 5 layers. Eyeballs first, second level of eyeballs, first level of interest, second level of interest, engagement, and transact. Okay, and you want to follow that. So we follow that. So Jenny comes in and eyeball first, eyeball for a bit. Second, engaged in a document. Right, great. Now getting marketing to come and have a chat. Oh, engage, came in for sort of salesperson's had a contact, okay? And then through to what? An output of some time, Track that all the way through. So we track a lot of that with AI now and give you those reports so you've got transparency. We're doing pretty amazing. I mean, we're constantly hacking the system though, but Facebook and Google, and they're just very greedy, and they literally can just turn up the ad cost when they want more profits, okay? And we know that. We know some of the methods by which they do it. Some we can get around, and others we just gotta accept it. If your company's paying, $1,000 a week for a massive billboard down in Darling Harbour, and they ring up and say, hey, we want $2,000, you either keep paying for it, or another business says, I'll take it off you. So, and it's the same with those guys. But at least work with an agency that understands how they really actually work at that level. And then there's some testimonials here. Probably, how long we got? We've got a minute? Have you given me the 1 minute? Oh, okay, cool. I'll just give you a bit of an example of a client that we worked with to get a feel of what it's,
Hi, I'm Adam from Adam Solar, a residential and solar installation specialist in South Australia. RTE Digital popped up on our social media feed, and it was perfect timing because we were advised by the Telstra Business Awards to have a stronger social presence. We've always ignored that side of our business, and it was the time to action. Adam Solar has been running for about 10 years. We have always relied on our word of mouth advertising as a method of advertising and the referrals. The main reason we hired RT Digital was to increase our social media presence and the flow of inquiries into our business. The process of working with RT Digital was amazing. The guys are very well experienced. They really care about their clients. After RT Digital started running the social media for us, I've started seeing more people contacting us. The inquiries have increased. We actually had several clients commented on our social media, and we got a lot of jobs, some of them really big jobs, which paid off for the whole investment through a 2 years contract with RT Digital. One of the best things I've ever done in my business is to invest with RT Digital. It helped the business grow. It helped the business stay consistent in their inquiries. I would recommend RT Digital to any business. It will work and it will bring you the results you want.
And I don't know if you could pick his accent there, but I tell you what, you do not want to fail in giving results to those kind of guys. He was a very tough client in a way, and it's hard for us in marketing. I don't know if anyone else is out there in marketing. It's kind of like the level of expectation that our team get put under versus what the reality of the reality of the world and what we can and can't do. But the way that we build relationships is for the long term. So we just be transparent about it. It's just like, this is what it is, this is what it's not. Don't think that there's miracles here or whatever. It's a journey, and we're really just doing the expertise forensic work that there's no way your marketing team, unless you've got 7 or 8 dedicated, can do. So what you do is you use an agency like us to complement them. They focus on strategy, directing, branding, creatives. We focus on forensic deployment, okay, and monitoring, really. And that's good. And then your businesses can thrive. And what we've seen with Adam. And what happens is that as other people fall over in the marketplace, so because of the systemic brand growth, your brand just absorbs the inquiry that is left behind by the other businesses that are your competitors that are not marketing and that are not engaging. So, for example, you just mop it up. You just literally you mop up that lost inquiry through that. So, any questions of any kind? You got a question, surely? We've been paying extreme attention and kind of been thinking, okay, there's a question there. You got any notes? Any questions from your notes? Yeah. That's a bloody good question. So she asked, with the campaigns that we run for our clients, do you guys get access to all the data for down the future? And that's a question you should be asking your agency, because 9 times out of 10, they will not bring that up, they'll never mention it, and people generally wouldn't ask it. I'm guessing you asked it because I started my presentation saying that that's the gold, that it's in that audience data. So yes, we do. So obviously all your inbound database, but all of the targeting and the ads targeting metrics and the audiences and everything retain are your that you've invested in. Okay, so if you disengage with us, you still need to manage all of that, you know, and run it all. Obviously we're out of the picture, but you've got some data there to play with. Okay, so great question and very important. Anyone else? My thoughts on Twitter. Look, I've been on all the social medias since they began, all of them. So I'm a rock musician, actually. You know, I spent 15 years touring as a musician. So I built my entire career on digital marketing and social media, our entire career, from MySpace all the way through. Twitter, look, Twitter's a funny one. They're trying to crack that model. I think give it about a year, because I reckon I've got an idea what Elon's going to do with it. And I think that right now, for Australian businesses in the construction sector, it's completely irrelevant. Yeah. Yep. Beautiful. So with the non-paid organic social posts, asking the kind of frequency per month. Remember when I spoke about how we do that? So we schedule a minimum of 3 strategically placed branding posts per week, and then we'll do a post that synchronizes with a particular campaign. But again, it's essentially useless. It's just flesh on the bones that they see once they click on one of your ads. Do not pay for ads, gets them back to the house, then they scroll through and see that. So we strategically design that so that when they're going back scrolling through, the house looks good. But we know that the work itself is essentially a waste of time if you don't have paid ads driving the traffic to the Facebook and Instagram page. And if those ads are not done in the way that I've explained today, it's useless. Yeah. Yeah. Great question. So Google Maps, he's asking about we should all be on Google Maps and what metrics. Look, they're not revealing a lot about what we know what we can do. You know, we can put content there. We know that affects the algorithm for where you show up when people do it. You've got to have a level of consistency, the way you structure the profile, and there's certain things you can do to your website and your social profiles that tie back to it that assist it. But we don't actually fully know where they're headed with it. But I get ahead of the curve, and I'm telling people that, and we build it in now. We build Google Maps in, and we've got a way that we do that. I'm telling you that they're going somewhere with it, where if you've built up that, whatever it is they allow you to do now, it's going to pay off down the track. This is like back in the day when SEO first came out, and those dudes all did heaps of, you know, and then they're like, well, my website for bathrooms is ranked at #1 for 10 years. I've made millions of dollars as a result. Whereas, you know, now I can just start any brand tomorrow and pay for ads and blow them out of the water. But that's where it's headed. We don't fully know. Post on it regularly, make sure it's fully fleshed out, and triple check the connections between your website and the Maps profile and refresh it. That's all I've got time, but I'm hanging around. Jason, can everyone look at Jason? He's very tall, Icelandic, Viking. And again, Elvis over there. Jonty, raise your hand. Go and ask any questions, grab a card, and yeah, lovely to speak to you guys, and be well.